Why I started investing in property, wealth creation. I started investing in property part-time in 2010 whilst I was working at one of the big 4 professional services firms in the city, Ernst & Young, as a trainee accountant. I wanted to build up a property portfolio as I realized that many wealthy individuals tended to invest in property for the long term. I was working full-time, but I wanted something in place so that I wasn't fully reliant on my job as my only source of income. If I decided I wanted to do something else, was fired or fell ill, then I had something to fall back on so that I wasn't fully reliant on my job. And if I did lose it, then I wouldn't feel under immense pressure to try and find another job again quickly. I realized that property investing would give me the following: monthly cash flow. This was the difference between the rent I would receive and the mortgage cost. Capital appreciation. Historically, property prices have doubled every 10 years in this country, and so I wanted to invest for the long term for capital appreciation. It is an asset class which is in demand and therefore short supply, meaning that prices in the long term tend to increase, resulting in capital appreciation. Leverage. I don't really hear this talked about a lot, but it is so important. Leverage money. In any other investment, I realized that I needed to put in 100% of the initial investment. So for example, if I decided to buy stocks and shares, I would need 100% of the initial investment or outlay. Whereas if I buy a property, I only need to come up with 25% of the value of the property as a deposit. For example, if I wanted to invest £100,000 in the stock market, I would need £100,000. Whereas if I wanted to invest in a property worth £100,000, I would only need £25,000 as a deposit, as a buy-to-let lender will lend me the remaining £75,000. And depending on what I do to that property, I can further reduce or limit the money I have left in. Leverage skill sets. I love the fact that I can leverage other people's skill sets. I don't have to be the expert. In property, I use knowledgeable brokers, qualified solicitors with many years of conveyancing experience, architects, fully qualified electricians, plumbers and builders with years and years of experience. Leverage time. I can leverage the time of estate agents. They have the knowledge of what's coming on, at how much, and what the situation of the owner is, how much the property might be worth once you let them know what you plan to do with the property, what it currently rents for, and what level of rent you might achieve once you've completed the works you are planning to complete. They will have a good idea of what is happening in an area and be able to drastically reduce the time I needed to do my research. Passive income. I actually hate the word passive income because I genuinely feel it gives the impression you can get something for nothing, which just isn't the case. If you wanted something that was completely passive, then you could invest your money into a savings account or an ISA. However, the big downside here is that the returns are very small and it does require you to have the initial deposit to start earning this return. With property, you are able to do a lot of the work up front. For example, find the property, reconfiguring it, refurbishing it, renting it, and then refinancing it, but you only require minimal monitoring on an ongoing basis. On a monthly basis, if you are using a letting agent, for example, you are literally checking that the rent has come into your bank account. I like the time freedom that property gives me. I can build up my portfolio part-time, over time, and this will in the future give me more time freedom to pick and choose where I spend my time and energy. Over time, what you enjoy or thought was fun at the time changes. I remember when someone said to me, just get good A-level grades and the world will be your oyster. Then it was get a good degree from a good university and then you'll be set for life. After university, it was get a good graduate job. And as soon as I landed a job at one of the big 4 accountancy firms, it was just pass your exams and then you could end up in an investment bank. Once I'd landed at an investment bank, I wasn't quite sure what was next. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. After a while, I got tired of the same old routine and it was literally starting to feel like Groundhog Day. I wanted a change and a new challenge. I think I've realized that every 3 years I have this desire to do something different, and what property has allowed me to do is feel less guilty about making that step or transition, as it's acted like a safety net. With property, you can take it one step at a time. You can start off by doing vanilla buy-to-lets, then you could move on to converting a house into 2 flats, and then look at converting mixed-use commercial buildings into, say, 4 flats like I have. As your experience and confidence grows, you can do bigger and bigger projects if you wish. I personally wanted to buy up a number of buy-to-lets as these were less risky than moving into conversions or new builds. I wanted to build up a portfolio so that I had a solid base from which to progress from. I remember learning about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In his theory, Maslow suggests that people are motivated to fulfill their basic needs before moving on to more advanced needs. Property investing can be applied in a similar manner. For example, starting off by building a buy-to-let base that will meet your basic needs. Moving on to small conversions, such as houses into flats. Moving on to medium-sized conversions, such as mixed-use commercial conversions. And then moving on to large-scale conversions or land developments. Over time, your experience, but more importantly, your confidence grows, which means that you feel more confident to do bigger and more challenging projects where the payoffs can be even greater.